What if the most extraordinary places on Earth weren't just destinations, but moments where reality itself feels slightly undone? Across our planet, there are landscapes so surreal they challenge both nature and imagination. From a crimson lake burning in the desert, to a land where the earth looks unfinished and alive with acid and fire, to thousands of perfectly shaped hills that seem almost deliberately designed. How do such impossible places come to exist? And what do they reveal about the breathtaking extremes of our world? Join us as we explore destinations you need to witness at least once in your lifetime, where the impossible becomes beautifully, undeniably real. Harihar Fort rises sharply from the Sahyadri Mountains of Maharashtra, India, known for its steep, rock-cut staircase carved directly into the cliff. The fort stands at an elevation of about 1,120 meters above sea level, with steps inclined at nearly 80 degrees, creating one of the most intimidating ascents in the region. Each narrow stone step feels almost vertical, forcing climbers to rely on balance, breath, and steady focus. From the top, the fort reveals expansive views of rolling hills, deep valleys, and shifting clouds that emphasize its isolated position. Wind rushes across the plateau, carrying the dry scent of stone and grass shaped by centuries of weather. Harihar Fort delivers one of the most intense trekking experiences in India, where architecture, terrain, and human determination meet at their sharpest point. Sky Ladder Donnerkogel is a suspended steel ladder section of the Intersport Klettersteig, located in the Dachstein Mountains of Austria's Salzkammergut region. The ladder rises about 40 meters vertically, bridging a sheer rock face and creating a striking gap between climbers and the valley below. Standing on its rungs, you can feel the wind move freely through open space, while clouds drift past at eye level. The metallic texture of the ladder contrasts sharply with the rough limestone rock, amplifying every step and breath. Climbers hear only the sound of carabiners clicking and boots scraping against steel as altitude and exposure shape the experience. Rather than speed, this route encourages focus and calm, turning each upward movement into a controlled dialogue between body, gravity, and mountain terrain. The door to hell, officially known as the Darvaza gas crater, burns continuously in the heart of the Karakum Desert in Turkmenistan. Formed in 1971 after a gas drilling collapse, the crater measures roughly 70 meters wide and 30 meters deep, making it one of the most haunting geological sites on Earth. Flames roar day and night as natural gas escapes from beneath the ground, creating intense heat and a constant low thunder of fire. At night, the orange glow illuminates the surrounding desert for kilometers, turning sand and sky into a single burning horizon. Standing near the rim, visitors feel scorching air rising upward, while the smell of gas and minerals fills the senses. The door to hell is a raw encounter with Earth's hidden energy, where science, accident, and elemental force collide. Hussaini Hanging Bridge stretches across the Hunza River in northern Pakistan, suspended between steep mountains near the village of Hussaini. This wooden suspension bridge is often described as one of the most dangerous bridges in the world, with broken planks, wide gaps, and no handrails for support. The bridge spans roughly 200 meters, swaying constantly under strong mountain winds and the movement of each step. Below, glacial water rushes through the valley, producing a deep, continuous roar that heightens the sense of exposure. Crossing it requires calm focus, as every plank tests balance, nerve, and trust in the ropes holding the structure together. Hussaini Hanging Bridge delivers one of the rawest human experiences, where height, sound, and fear combine into a powerful encounter with gravity and courage. D915 road cuts through the mountains of northeastern Turkey, connecting Bayburt to Trabzon along a route feared for its extreme design. This road is often described as one of the most dangerous mountain roads on Earth, featuring around 29 sharp hairpin turns with no guardrails. Rising to an altitude of nearly 1,800 meters, the road clings to steep slopes where a single mistake can send vehicles plunging hundreds of meters below. From the driver's seat, the landscape feels raw and exposed, with endless valleys opening beneath the tires and cliffs pressing in from above. The gravel surface, combined with fog, rain, and sudden winds, creates one of the most intense driving experiences imaginable. D915 road represents one of the purest tests of human control and courage, where engineering, terrain, and risk intersect at their most extreme. Via Ferrata in the Dolomites traces a network of steel cables, ladders, and iron rungs fixed directly into pale limestone walls of northern Italy. Many routes were first installed during World War I, turning steep cliffs into passable lines across ridges rising between 2,000 and 3,300 meters above sea level. Climbers move horizontally and vertically along exposed faces, secured by harnesses, while boots scrape against rock shaped by ancient seas. The sensation alternates between controlled movement and open air, as valleys drop hundreds of meters below with no visual barrier. Wind funnels through narrow chimneys, metal cables hum softly, and the smell of cold stone fills the lungs. Via Ferrata Dolomites is considered one of the most distinctive mountain experiences in Europe, where history, geology, and human engineering merge into a single, continuous ascent. Gotthard Pass cuts through the heart of the Swiss Alps, forming a historic mountain route that links northern and southern Europe. Rising to about 2,106 meters above sea level, the pass has served traders, armies, and travelers for more than 700 years. One of its most iconic sections is the Tremolo Road, paved with hand-laid granite cobblestones and winding through a series of tight hairpin curves. As vehicles climb higher, engine sounds echo off bare rock, while cool alpine air carries the scent of stone and grass. Clouds often slide low across the pass, briefly obscuring the landscape before revealing deep valleys and jagged peaks. Gotthard Pass remains one of the most significant alpine crossings, where geography, history, and human persistence converge along a narrow ribbon of mountain road. The Darien Gap is a vast stretch of dense jungle and wetlands separating Panama from Colombia, breaking the continuity of the Pan American Highway. Covering roughly 16,000 square kilometers, it consists of rainforests, swamps, fast rivers, and steep hills that remain largely undeveloped. annual rainfall can exceed 3,000 millimeters, turning the ground into thick mud and making movement slow and exhausting. With no roads, travelers must navigate by foot and river, relying on instinct, endurance, and local knowledge. The Darien Gap is considered one of the most challenging natural barriers in the Americas, where raw geography continues to resist large-scale human intrusion. Island of the Dolls lies deep within the canals of Xochimilco, just south of Mexico City, hidden among narrow waterways and floating gardens. The island became infamous in the mid-20th century when its lone caretaker hung hundreds of dolls to honor the spirit of a drowned girl he believed haunted the area. Today, more than 1,000 weathered dolls hang from trees and wooden structures, their cracked faces and empty eyes shaped by decades of sun and humidity. Island of the Dolls stands as one of the most haunting cultural landmarks, where folklore, fear, and memory merge inside a silent labyrinth of water. Located beneath a small Gothic chapel in Kutná Hora, Sedlec Ossuary is considered one of the most haunting and unusual religious sites in Europe, decorated with the bones of an estimated 40,000 to 70,000 people. Its origins trace back to the 13th century, when soil from Jerusalem made the cemetery a sacred burial ground across Central Europe. Inside, skulls and femurs are arranged into chandeliers, coats of arms and arches, transforming death into structured symbolism rather than chaos. The famous bone chandelier reportedly contains at least one of every bone in the human body, hanging silently above the nave. The air feels cool and heavy, carrying a faint scent of stone and age, while pale bones glow softly under low light. Sedlec Ossuary is not built to shock, but to confront mortality with order, faith, and unsettling beauty. Kamalia Stone Road is carved directly into sheer limestone cliffs above the dark canyon, creating one of the most dramatic mountain roads in the world. Built by hand between the 19th and early 20th centuries, this narrow route stretches about 13 kilometers, with sections only 2 to 2.5 meters wide, making it one of the most daring roads ever constructed. Sheer rock walls rise hundreds of meters above the Euphrates River, while the canyon plunges to depths of nearly 1,000 meters, delivering a constant sense of vertigo. As vehicles pass through tunnels chiseled into solid stone, echoes of engines mix with the wind and the distant sound of flowing water. The contrast between cold, shadowed rock and sudden bursts of sunlight creates a powerful visual rhythm. Traveling this road is not just a journey through space, but through human courage at its highest. Gheamana village lies hidden in the Apusini Mountains of Romania, slowly submerged beneath a vast toxic lake created by copper mining waste. In the 1970s, industrial runoff flooded the valley, forcing residents to abandon their homes as acidic water began to rise year after year. Today, only the church tower remains visible, standing above orange-red water with a pH as low as 2.5, one of the harshest human-altered environments in Europe. The surface releases a sharp metallic smell, while silence dominates the abandoned slopes surrounding the lake. Minerals and heavy metals stain the water in unnatural colors, creating a haunting contrast between beauty and damage. Gheamana village stands as one of the most powerful reminders of environmental cost, where memory, loss, and industrial impact are frozen in a quiet landscape. Rupkund Lake rests high in the Indian Himalayas at an altitude of about 5,020 meters, hidden beneath snow for most of the year. This small glacial lake is widely known as one of the most mysterious lakes in the world due to hundreds of human skeletons scattered around its frozen shoreline. Scientific studies suggest the remains date back more than 1,000 years, likely linked to a sudden fatal event caused by extreme weather. Rupkund Lake stands as one of the most haunting high-altitude landscapes, where nature preserves human history in its rawest and coldest form. Lake Retba, often called the Pink Lake, lies just 30 kilometers from Dakar and is one of the most surreal natural wonders in West Africa. Its water turns vivid pink due to Dunaliella salina algae, which thrive in extreme salinity levels reaching up to 40%, nearly higher than the Dead Sea. Salt workers wade through the dense water by hand, harvesting nearly 1,000 tons of salt each day, a tradition passed down for generations. The thick water allows the human body to float effortlessly, giving a weightless, almost unreal sensation. Lake Retba is not only one of the most visually unique lakes in the world, but also a living intersection of nature, labor, and resilience. Nami Island rests quietly on the Bukan River, about 63 kilometers from Seoul, shaped like a half-moon, formed after the construction of the Chongpyong Dam in 1944. The island covers roughly 460,000 square meters and is known for its long tree-lined paths, where ginkgo, maple, and metasequoia trees change character with each season. Cultural installations, small galleries, and quiet cafes are woven gently into the landscape without overpowering it. Nami Island offers a calm, sensory journey where nature, art, and human presence remain in balance. Mano del Desierto rises from the barren sands of Chile's Atacama Desert, standing alone along Route 5, about 75 kilometers south of Antofagasta. This massive concrete sculpture reaches roughly 11 meters high, emerging from one of the driest environments on Earth. Created in 1992 by Chilean artist Mario Irarrázaval, the hand symbolizes human vulnerability and endurance within an immense, unforgiving landscape. Under the intense desert sun, the surface shows cracks, shadows, and sharp contours that shift dramatically from morning to sunset. Mano del Desierto is often regarded as one of the most striking artworks in South America, where art and desert silence confront travelers with a powerful sense of scale and isolation. Cut by the Jinsha River in northwest Yunnan, Tiger Leaping Gorge is regarded as one of the deepest river gorges on Earth by vertical relief. The canyon drops nearly 3,900 meters from the snow-capped peaks of Jade Dragon and Harbor Mountains down to the roaring river below. At its narrowest point, the river squeezes through a channel barely 30 meters wide, where water thunders with immense force. The air carries a mix of cold, alpine wind and damp river spray, while sheer rock walls loom almost straight up on both sides. Hiking trails cling to cliffs high above the water, offering constant vertigo and sweeping views of layered stone. Tiger Leaping Gorge is not simply vast, but a visceral encounter with gravity, sound, and scale. Set within General Carrera Lake in Chilean Patagonia, the Marble Caves are considered one of the most visually striking geological formations in South America. Carved over more than 6,000 years, waves and mineral-rich water sculpted solid marble into smooth chambers, pillars, and arches. The lake's color shifts from deep turquoise to milky blue, reflecting onto the cave walls and creating swirling light patterns that seem to move with the water. These formations are part of a marble mass estimated at over 18,000 square kilometers, shared between Chile and Argentina. As boats glide inside, gentle splashes echo softly, while cool air and stone dampness surround you. The marble caves are not just rock formations, but a slow collaboration between water, light, and geological time. Kishtwar to Killa Road in northern India is a narrow mountain passage carved into sheer Himalayan cliffs, linking the remote regions of Kishtwar and Pangi across deep river gorges. The road stretches roughly 114 kilometers, but the journey can take more than 10 hours due to sharp bends, unstable slopes, and frequent landslides during the monsoon season. In many sections, the track is barely wide enough for a single vehicle, with vertical drops plunging hundreds of meters toward the roaring Chenab River below. Built largely by hand through hard rock, this route stands as one of the most daring examples of mountain road engineering in the Indian Himalayas. Drivers experience biting cold winds, echoing horns, and the raw scent of stone and dust pressed tightly against the cliffs. Traveling this road feels less like a commute and more like a confrontation with gravity, isolation, and human resilience. Dedvlei is a surreal white clay pan hidden within Namibia's Namib Desert, famous for its ancient blackened camel thorn trees standing against towering red dunes. The trees, estimated to be over 600 to 900 years old, died when shifting dunes cut off the Tsochab River, yet the extreme aridity has prevented them from decomposing. Surrounding the pan-rise sand dunes, reaching about 325 meters, among the highest dunes on Earth, creating a striking contrast of white, black, and deep rust red. Daytime temperatures can exceed 45 degrees Celsius, and the dry air carries the faint mineral scent of heated clay and sand. The silence is broken only by wind brushing across the dunes, making every footstep feel amplified. Dedvlei feels less like a landscape and more like a frozen moment in geological time, where heat, light, and stillness define the experience. Rising on the border of France and Italy, Mont Blanc reaches 4,808.7 meters, standing as the highest peak in the Alps and a dominant landmark of Western Europe. Temperatures can plunge below -20 degrees Celsius even in summer, and winds often exceed 100 kilometers per hour, shaping an environment both majestic and unforgiving. From the summit, the air feels razor-thin and startlingly clean, while sunlight flashes off snowfields that can glow blinding white at noon and soft rose at dawn. Its vast massif stretches across roughly 400 square kilometers, holding some of the largest glaciers in the Alps, including the Mer de Glace, where ancient ice creaks and shifts beneath your feet. Each year, over 20,000 climbers attempt its routes, guided by centuries-old mountaineering traditions rooted in Chamonix and Courmayeur. Known as the Devil's Nose, Nares del Diablo is one of the steepest and most dramatic railway sections in the world. carved into near-vertical cliffs of the Ecuadorian Andes. Located near Alausi, the railway descends almost 500 meters in elevation over a short distance using a daring zigzag system where trains reverse direction multiple times to overcome gravity. Built between 1899 and 1908, this route demanded immense human effort, costing thousands of workers their lives during construction. From the tracks, sheer rock walls drop away abruptly, while cold mountain air carries echoes through the narrow gorge. The sensation is visceral. Metal wheels grind, wind rushes past, and the valley opens suddenly beneath you. Nares del Diablo is not just an engineering feat, but a raw confrontation between human ambition and unforgiving terrain.
But now I'm older and one glance of you.
Located within the Waiotapu thermal wonderland, Champagne Pool is regarded as one of the most iconic geothermal pools in New Zealand, formed by a hydrothermal eruption around 900 years ago. The pool measures roughly 65 meters in diameter and reaches depths of about 62 meters, with water temperatures consistently near 74 degrees Celsius. Its name comes from the constant release of carbon dioxide bubbles, rising like champagne and filling the air with a sharp mineral scent. Dissolved minerals such as arsenic, antimony, and silica stain the rim in vivid orange and gold, creating one of the most striking natural color contrasts in the country. Steam drifts across the surface, carrying warmth and a faint hiss that makes the ground feel alive. Champagne Pool is not just visually dramatic, but a rare window into Earth's active geothermal chemistry. Winding through the tropical mountains of far north Queensland, the Kuranda Scenic Railway is regarded as one of the most picturesque heritage railways in Australia. Opened in 1891, the line climbs from Cairns to Kuranda across 37 bridges and 15 hand-carved tunnels, overcoming steep rainforest terrain with remarkable precision. The journey rises to about 328 meters above sea level, revealing sheer cliffs, dense jungle, and sudden openings over the barren gorge. Near Barren Falls, water can plunge more than 250 meters during the wet season, filling the air with mist and a deep roaring echo. Inside the carriages, timber interiors creak softly, while cool, damp forest air drifts through open windows. The Kuranda Scenic Railway is not just transport, but a slow-moving passage through living rainforest, engineering history, and sound.
Artlist.io.
Jeju Island, located off the southern coast of South Korea, is a volcanic island of exceptional geological value, formed by eruptions that ended around 5,000 years ago. At its center rises Halasan, standing 1,947 meters high, the highest mountain in the country, and a dormant shield volcano.
Artlist.io.
The island hosts over 360 parasitic cones, lava plateaus, and sea cliffs shaped by wind and waves, giving the landscape a raw, sculpted feel.
Music licensing reimagined.
Manjangal lava tube stretches more than 7.4 kilometers, making it one of the longest lava tunnels in the world, with cool air and echoing silence underground.
Artlist.io.
Along the coast, basalt columns meet turquoise water, while sulfur scents and ocean salt mix in the breeze.
Music licensing reimagined.
Jeju Island is not only scenic, but a living record of volcanic force, time, and resilience.
Artlist.io.
Located near Osoyoos in British Columbia's Okanagan Valley, Spotted Lake is considered one of the most unusual mineral lakes in the world.
Music licensing
During summer,
reimagined.
evaporation separates the water into hundreds of circular pools, each rich in magnesium sulfate, calcium, and sodium, creating distinct colors from green to yellow and white. Mineral concentrations can reach over 400 grams per liter, making the water far denser than typical freshwater lakes. The lake surface hardens under heat, releasing a sharp mineral scent, while the pools shimmer under intense sunlight.
Music licensing reimagined.
For centuries, indigenous Sioux people have regarded the lake as sacred, using its mineral mud for healing purposes. Spotted Lake is not only visually striking, but a rare natural record of chemistry, climate, and cultural reverence. Carved into the limestone mountains of northern Vietnam, Ma Pi Leng Pass is regarded as one of the most dramatic mountain passes in Southeast Asia. The pass rises to about 1,200 meters above sea level, forming part of the legendary Happiness Road, linking Dongvon and Meo Vac. Below, the Ngo Que River slices through a gorge nearly 800 meters deep, creating one of the deepest river canyons in Vietnam by measured relief. Sheer cliffs fall almost vertically, while wind rushes along the ridge, carrying the scent of rock, grass, and distant water. Built largely by hand between 1959 and 1965, this road stands as a testament to human endurance against uncompromising terrain. Ma Pi Leng Pass is not merely a viewpoint, but a visceral encounter with height, silence, and the raw geometry of stone. Often called the Grand Canyon of Europe, Verdon Gorge is one of the deepest and most visually striking river canyons in the continent, carved by the Verdon River in southeastern France. The gorge stretches about 25 kilometers in length, with limestone walls plunging up to 700 meters above the river. Its water appears intensely turquoise due to glacial minerals and fine limestone particles suspended in the flow. From the rim roads, sheer cliffs drop vertically, while echoes of wind and birds rebound across the narrow chasm. In summer, kayaks glide through calm sections as climbers scale walls that rank among the most renowned limestone routes in Europe. Verdun Gorge is not just a landscape, but a sensory collision of depth, color, and geological time. Hidden beneath the Myrdalsjökull glacier in southern Iceland, Katla Ice Cave is considered one of the most dramatic volcanic ice caves in the world. The cave forms above the Katla volcano, where geothermal heat shapes tunnels of ice that constantly evolve year by year. Ice walls rise several meters high, layered with black volcanic ash from past eruptions that sharply contrast with deep blue and crystal white ice. Temperatures hover near freezing, while meltwater drips steadily, echoing through the narrow chambers. Unlike most ice caves, Katla can be accessed year-round, making it a rare window into the interaction between fire and ice. Katla Ice Cave is not merely a frozen space, but a living structure shaped by volcanoes, glaciers, and time. Isolated in the Arabian Sea, Socotra Island is often described as one of the most biologically unique places on Earth, separated from mainland Africa for over 20 million years. This long isolation produced extraordinary endemism, with about 37% of plant species, 90% of reptiles, and many insects found nowhere else. The island's symbol, the dragon blood tree, spreads umbrella-like canopies that cast sharp shadows on limestone plateaus scorched by wind and salt air. Socotra covers roughly 3,800 square kilometers, where white dunes meet turquoise water and jagged mountains rise abruptly from the coast. Dry heat, mineral scents, and constant ocean wind create a raw, almost alien sensory experience. Socotra Island is not just remote, but a living archive of evolution shaped by time, climate, and isolation.